Hi everybody, it's Jason here, and I wanted to give you an update on some details of how PARCC works. So we're going to switch over to some slides for that now, and hopefully this will help you have a better understanding of that. So how PARCC works is meant to give you a very brief overview of the technical components of the PARCC assessment. Where PARCC starts is with data collection, and this data is collected through our school's student information system. In our case, that's PowerSchool, and that's the place where we collect demographic data, student enrollment data, course enrollment data, and that's also where we'll be collecting data on accessibility and accommodations for individual students. From there, we take data from our student information system, from PowerSchool, and it gets uploaded to the Illinois State Board of Education through the Illinois State Board of Education's student information system. I wish I could say that was a magical process. Unfortunately, it's not. It requires a lot of work, particularly from Sue Werneski on our team, to take that data, clean it up, and get it up to the state in a format that will work and allow the state to be able to read it. Then the state will take that data and move it over to a system run by Pearson called PearsonAccess Next. This is also a system, it's web-based, where we need to interact with our data once again, help making sure the students are in the right classes and the testing is set up for those classes appropriately. We still have lots of decisions to make in School District 21 with specific regard to who will be doing what in this system, both prior to and then during the testing windows for the performance-based assessment early in the spring and the end-of-year assessment in May. Main components of PearsonAccess Next, again, include that setup prior to testing as well as components during the testing window in which we have to start and stop tests, and that's also one place that some of the troubleshooting occurs if a student's test was either not closed out of correctly or is not loading the way we would expect it to. Now, one of the key elements of all this is our Proctor cache servers. So these are not servers that regular people will see. They're hidden in our network racks. They're running Windows 8.1, and they're really just regular computers. They're regular machines. We have one in each school to allow for the maximum number of students to simultaneously test possible. Now, what the Proctor cache servers do is they'll pull down the tests locally to the building, and then between the client devices on which the kids are taking the tests, these send data to them and then receive data back from them. And as you can see, as we've already begun working with our Proctor cache servers, we can determine how many students we can test simultaneously. These numbers are run over Wi-Fi because that's how our kids will be testing. We'll tell you they're over 4 times as fast if we were to run them over Ethernet, but that's not a practical solution for the number of students we'll have testing at one time. And again, each school could have this many students testing simultaneously. There's other factors like technical support personnel and appropriate testing spaces that will also limit how many students will actually have testing at one time. Then there's the test-taking clients, the devices on which the kids actually take the tests. In our case, in School District 21, all of the students will take their assessments on Chromebooks. We will be doing the assessments entirely electronically online, though other districts are still taking advantage of the option this year to do paper-based assessments. And we've learned from the field testing experience that the Chromebooks turned out to be an incredibly easy to manage and versatile device for students with the keyboard, with a large enough screen, and a device on which students were comfortable working. And obviously with students having much more access to Chromebooks this year, they'll probably feel even more comfortable. And again, we're thrilled to have the Chromebooks not for the sake of PARCC testing, but for all the learning and creating students can do on them throughout the year. Finally, the other kinds of devices that currently can be used on PARCC and that other school districts around us will be using in addition to Chromebooks, though increasingly more and more districts are looking at those as a great solution for this and other things. Those other devices include Windows laptops or desktops, Mac OS 10 laptops or desktops, and then iOS devices, specifically full-size iPads, and those need to be used with wired keyboards. So those are what the students will be testing on. Now, when the students get the device, they don't log in like normal, or if they were already logged in, because it's their one-to-one device, they log out of it. And then to log in, they're going to use kiosk mode. This is really easy. They simply click that apps button in the lower left corner in between shutdown and add user, and then they see the TestNav app. That's the only app we have deployed in kiosk mode. When they launch that, it takes over the whole screen, the whole device, and they're locked into the testing environment. No access to the internet, no access to their calculator. They'll get access to the tools they need when they need them from the assessment itself. Now, to log into TestNav, there is another step, and there is still paper involved. In addition to the scratch paper that all students will get, we will have to run secure student authorization tickets. And these are only available one time for each test session. The kid gets a new authorization ticket. They have a goofy username and password, as you can see down in the lower left corner. And those are what need to be both kept organized by staff in the schools and then handed to kids and then collected back from kids, because they are secure documents. And the kids will have to successfully enter those usernames and passwords. Even our third graders did well on that with the field tests last year. And then finally, while the students are taking the test, data is going back from the client to the Proctor cache server throughout the test. We've learned from the folks at the Illinois State Board of Education, every 3 multiple choice answers will sync back from the client to the server, and every 20 seconds of work on a free response question will sync back. So worst case scenario, student would lose no more than 3 answers on multiple choice section or 20 seconds worth of work on a free response question if everything behaves as expected. One of the things we've seen with NWA's map testing over the years in the local client version of map testing is that it has gotten better and better at gracefully resuming a test. When a kid kicks a plug out of a machine, for example, it picks up right where the kid left off when the proctor gets the student logged back in. So this is really great information for us to have to understand when we may be in troubleshooting situations. So that gives you an overview of how the various technical components will work on the PARCC testing environment later this year. Hope this has helped you a little bit and that you've enjoyed this. Have a great winter break, and hopefully when you come back we'll be ready for our next steps with the PARCC assessment.